Today's topic is the outbreak of the revolution. Before going into today's topic, let's recap the previous chapter. In the French Revolution chapter, we have learned about the French society during the late 18th century. Why Louis XVI increased taxes, how the people were divided into estates, and how the third estate shouldered all the tax paying while the first and second estates, which consist of clergy and nobility, enjoyed their feudal privileges. Next, we learned about the struggle of common people, that is, how they struggled to survive due to the rapid increase in population within few decades and the substance crisis. Next, we also learned about growing middle class of third estate who were rich and educated and questioned the social order, and they were also philosophers such as John Locke, Rousseau, Montesquieu, who opposed feudal privileges and envisaged an equal country. These are all the topic we have learned so far. So, let's go to today's topic, that is the outbreak of the revolution. Louis XVI had to increase the taxes for numerous reasons, such as to pay back the loan, to maintain regular expenses of the country, etc. They were all valid reasons, but the only problem was the taxpayers or solely third estate people. So, in the old regime, the monarch or the king do not have the power to impose taxes according to his own will. It had to be approved by a political body known as Estate General. Estate General is a gathering of three estates, that is, each estate sends the representative to Estate General to vote and to approve new taxation laws. So, on 5th May of 1789, Louis XVI, the king, called to gather the Estate General to pass the proposal of new taxes. The first and the second estates, that is, clergy and nobles, sent 300 representatives each to Estate General, while the third estate, which include majority of population, sent about 600 representatives from its more prosperous and educated elite. The first and second estate representatives were allowed to sit down, while the third estate stood at the back, even though this was discriminatory. There was more discriminations against the peasants, artisans and the women who were not even allowed to enter the assembly. However, the grievances and demands were brought in by the representatives in the form of pamphlets. Voting in Estate General has always been conducted according to the principle that each estate had one vote. So, all the three estates each had only one vote. However, the third estate demanded for each member in the Estate General to have one vote. This idea was put forward by philosophers like Rousseau as he written in his social contract, where he proposed a form of government where people got to choose their own representatives. However, the king rejected the proposal, and so the members of the third estate walked out of the assembly in protest. However, the meeting reassembled on the 20th of June in Versailles inside of indoor tennis court, and they declared themselves as National Assembly. As they considered themselves, that is, the third estates considered themselves as the spokesperson for entire French nation. So, they named themselves as the National Assembly. In the assembly, they demanded the constitution that would limit the power of monarch. This was led by Mirabeau and Abbe Sieyès. So, Mirabeau was a person from noble family, but he was convinced the society of feudal privileges must come to end, while the other person, Abbe Sieyès, was the priest. He too believed in the philosophers like Rousseau and John Locke. While this was taking place and they were trying to understand how to draft a constitution that would be beneficial to everyone, The rest of the France was in turmoil. There were queues outside the bakery fighting for bread. There were agitation and turmoil as the king has ordered the troops to move into the Paris. Because of all these things were happened the protest. The revolting, however, on the 14th of July, the people, as you have learned in the introduction of the chapter, the agitated crowd stormed in and destroyed the Bastille, and according to the rumors, the lords of the manor had hired bands of brigands to destroy the ripe crops. So, this agitated the peasants and they attacked the chateaux. Chateaux is the castle or the residence that belong to king or nobles. So, you can understand from this that all the entire France was protesting against the king and or the old regime as they were done with the idea of discriminations against them. After facing many revolts and revolution, Louis XVI finally recognized the National Assembly and accepted the constitution, and he also accepted that now his power lowered and limited. On 4th August of 1789, the assembly abolished the feudal system of obligation and taxes. By doing so, the clergy were forced to give up their privileges, tithes were abolished, and lands owned by church were confiscated. As a result, the government required the assertors at least 2 billion livres. The map shows the spread of great fear during 1789 in France and people traveling from one point to another. Okay students, that's all for today's topic.